So I have the just total honor of getting to kick off the Argo project update and talk about all the things that are going on. And you're going to have a chance to hear from a lot of maintainers today, in addition to end users. This is a great opportunity to meet people. So welcome again to ArgoCon. To introduce myself, my name is Dan Garfield. I am an Argo maintainer working primarily on Argo CD, and I just constantly, by PipeKit, and being reminded that Argo workflows exist and that I need to care more about it. And so I'm going to do my best to make sure that they get properly highlighted. So thank you for the gentle reminders. And then I am a VP of open source at Octopus Deploy. So those that don't know, Codefresh was purchased by Octopus Deploy. So we have two names now. So whatever. It's easy stuff. Let me just ask really quick. Raise your hand if you're currently at ArgoCon. Okay, so that's a participation test, and it looks like about half of people are either participating or pay attention. Raise your hand if you're at ArgoCon. Okay, keep your hand up if this is your second ArgoCon. Okay, keep your hand up if this is your third ArgoCon. Okay, still about 20 people. Keep your hand up if this is your fourth ArgoCon. Keep your hand up if it's your fifth. Some people trying to remember how many ArgoCons there have been now. Okay, cool. The reason I ask that is because as we go around, and we did ArgoCon in Paris last time, I've noticed that the audience sort of changes. And so we get a mix of people that are new to the project and people that are very experienced with the project. And today, as we build these programs, we always want to know that we're building the programs to meet the audience where they are. So I'm so glad that you're here. I hope that we'll see you again at the next ArgoCon that we do, whether you can make it to North America or if you're going to do the one in Europe. We're planning, of course, to continue doing these. Now, everybody knows what the motto of Argo is, right? It's get more done with Kubernetes. And I have to say that you all have been getting an enormous amount of things done with Kubernetes. So give yourself a round of applause for that. Yeah. You're kicking. You're doing very well. In fact, in this last year, in 2024, 180 companies added themselves to our users.md, which is a phenomenal growth. Now, if you have not added your company to the users.md, in every Argo project repo, there is a place where you can add your company and say, hey, we're using Argo. And it's a great way for us to see who's using the project and to show your support and your love. So if you have not done that, please go do that, okay? It helps us show growth and get a sense of how people are using the project. Now, I'm not going to be too focused on Argo CD in this section, and we'll have plenty of workflows. But I do want to call out that according to the CNCF survey this last year, about half of Kubernetes clusters were being deployed to using Argo CD. That's okay to applause for, yeah. That's a pretty big, that's a pretty amazing outcome, right? Argo CD fans over here? Is it a British thing where you don't respond to speakers? You just sit quietly? Is it like a stiff upper lip thing? I don't know, I'm trying to learn the culture. But 50% of clusters deployed to using Argo CD, that's a huge milestone. Maybe it's everybody is a Workflows fan. Workflows fans? Okay, all right. There's some, appreciate this section over here. You back there, I'm looking at you, okay? Okay, you're on notice. In fact, just here in the United Kingdom, just here in London, Love Holidays. It's a local company. Maybe some of you actually use this to help you book travel to KubeCon. They do every day trillions of hotel and flight combinations that they process for their users to help them figure out the best possible vacation. And they've got 1,500 deployments in production, and all of those are managed using Argo CD and Argo rollouts. And this is an example of a CNCF case study. In the last year, we've had 3 CNCF case studies highlighting Argo, and that is another opportunity to get your company out there. So as you're looking at recruiting people and you want to attract great talent, showing off that you're using the tools that people love to use, like Argo workflows, Argo CD, Argo rollouts, that's a great way to get people excited about coming to work with you. And doing a CNCF case study allows you to not only highlight the great engineering work that you're all doing, but also helps you attract talent. And it also helps us as the Argo project have a lot more attention and get the help that we need as well. Now, from an overall project standpoint, this last year, we handled over 3,000 pull requests. That's a lot. That's a lot of pull requests. That's a lot of pull request reviews. Oftentimes, to merge a pull request, you have more than one maintainer participating. You actually have several people participating, reviewing code, going back and forth, discussing, helping, getting things ready. And so give a shout to our maintainers, okay? Thank you, maintainers, for all the work that you do. Woo! In the back, over there. Woo! All right. Now, this means that in 2024, we had over 5,000 individual contributors. And this all culminated in 2,000 commits. So this is an enormous project velocity. Now, the fact that we have so many contributors, like I said, that is enabled by the maintainers on the project, and but it represents an enormous diversity. Now, I do want to give a shout out to our corporate maintainers. So Acuity, BlackRock, Codefresh, Intuit, Pipekit, Red Hat. These are all companies that have dedicated resources to making sure that the Argo project is successful and has long-term viability. And one of the great things about this is that as an open source project, these are not the exclusive maintainers. We have independent maintainers in addition to these. And as a community, I think we've all seen that open source has been a little bit under attack in this last year or two, where we've seen a few projects decide they want to change licenses, they want to pull back features and things like that. That is something that, because of our governance structure, is just incredibly unlikely to happen, because you would need all of these people essentially to agree to do something like that. So you should have a lot of confidence in using Argo going forward. And as you talk to your management teams, your executive teams about, hey, we feel like Argo is a great investment, we know that's going to be safe, this is a great proof point, our governance structure, to say that this is a project that's going to be around for a long time. Now, like I said, with over 5,000 contributors, this actually makes us the #3 top CNCF project by contributors in 2024. These guys get it. These folks get it. Thank you. That's great news. And we only see that velocity increasing this next in 2025. Now, for our CNCF project, for our Argo projects, of course you're familiar, I think most of you should be familiar with Argo workflows, Argo CD, Argo rollouts, Argo events. But this last year, we actually added Argo Helm as a top-level project. And this, of course, is the way that actually most people deploy Argo today, is using the Helm chart. And for a long time, the Helm chart was unofficial. It wasn't an official release. It was a community contributed release. But that team has just consistently performed very well, and they're going to share more about what they're doing in a few minutes. Now, today, you're going to be exposed to all of these projects and more. And so as you look at the schedule, I would encourage you to take a moment and think about, hey, maybe we're not using Argo workflows today, but let's go look at a talk and see what it could do for us. Maybe there's something we're missing. Hey, our team isn't taking advantage of Argo rollouts. Why not? What's going on with that project? I should find out. Maybe you're not using Argo CD, and maybe you're using Argo workflows without Argo CD. Well, maybe there's an advantage to using those. All of these projects are really designed to be used independently of one another, and so they can be used together or independently, of course, as it meets your needs. But I would definitely encourage you to take a few minutes and look at those. Now, in addition to our top-level projects, we also have Argo Project Labs. Okay, how many people familiar with Argo Project Labs? A handful of people. Thank you, though. Okay, thank you. So Argo Project Labs is a place to build projects related to Argo. And this is where, for those that use application sets in Argo CD, that feature started in Argo Project Labs. And it's not just for maintainers, Argo maintainers to use. You do need to be sponsored by a maintainer, but if you have an idea for Argo that could be a plugin, it could be a UI widget, it could be a new tool, new CLI component, whatever idea it is that you have, if you think that it belongs in the Argo ecosystem, Argo Project Labs is a great place to store that. And if you have maybe concerns about ownership and licensing, Argo Project Labs is technically not a CNCF licensed project. And so that means that you have a little bit more flexibility if you want to donate it to the CNCF. If you don't want to donate it, that's totally fine. And so it's up to you. So there's a lot more flexibility there. So feel free to reach out if you have ideas. I did want to highlight one or two projects from Argo Labs. One of them is Hera. How many people use Hera today? Okay, a handful of people. Okay. Pretty good. So this is a project that's actually been around for just a couple years, and it allows you to take Python functions and create containerized templates that run in Kubernetes. So essentially workflows run through Python, and so that's something that's been very popular for a lot of people and is already in use by Bloomberg, Payit, Pipekit, and many others. But this is a project that's part of Project Labs, right? And then another great project that Leo from Intuit contributed this year is Ephemeral Access to Argo CD, and it's basically like sudo for Argo CD. So if you can have people with lower levels of access, and then if they need to do something like exec into a container, they can basically do a temporary credential escalation that allows them to do that. And that's based on policy. This is another great project that we're seeing from labs, and there are so many others. And they don't all have to be strictly, here's a tool. There are some projects around documentation. There are some projects around guides and things like that. So if you have an idea for Project Labs, this is an opportunity and a call to action to come and contribute to those things. Now, another great win we had this year was there's been enough attention into the Argo project that we actually had a documentary made about Argo. And I want to preview it for you very briefly. It's a quick thing. But this was such a great experience and such a cool thing to see from the community, and there's been a big response to it. So let me show you that preview, and we'll talk just a minute more before I hand over to the project updates.
In 2015, what I was observing was a major shift. Cloud had been around, but you were finally starting to see the large enterprises deploying a lot of workloads in the public cloud environments.
There were some people that were excited, and there were some people who were scared.
Kubernetes was becoming one of the most talked about container management deployment solutions. People were definitely falling in love with containers and the sort of experience of using containers.
We asked ourselves, well, maybe the time is right to create a product that can make all of these problems go away.
It became clear to me that we would need a new way of developing software, of designing software, but also deploying at scale.
My product actually was pretty ambitious in what we were trying to accomplish. They want to build a full CI/CD system, DevOps platform, on top of the public cloud. Basically a one-stop shop for all your service needs.
Their tagline was to make Kubernetes boring for enterprises.
We had to create, features that normally would take in a big company like months, and at Applatix it would be like, let's do it by next Wednesday, and then we do it.
There was a lot of apprehension. There was a lot of distrust.
So it was like a cool tech demo, but I didn't think it was going to be world-changing at the time.
That's where we hit on the idea of basically taking our workflow engine and make it a standalone component that any developer could very easily try and use. So I talked with Alexander, is this something we can do? 2 days later, he had a working prototype.
During that time period, the need to solve software problems in a programmatic way got even more intense.
What ends up happening is you're like, okay, but now we need to operate at a much larger scale. We need a little bit more maturity about our deployment process. We need a workflow engine. We need to be able to do canary deployments, etc. And Argo essentially is the perfect solution.
everyone is talking about Argo.
The project was just coming alive. Suddenly you had a tool that looked very much like the tool that I always wish I had. Wow.
All right, so if you haven't had a chance to see the documentary yet, it is available on YouTube, and I'm actually happy to announce that HBO has optioned the Argo story for a Game of Thrones style documentary. No, that's not true, but it was a listening test. Okay, so for participating in the community, obviously we have a bunch of options. There's a project meetings calendar, there's a Slack, there's the GitHub issues that all of you are very good at opening. And of course, we also have developer contributor guides. Now this QR code will give you a link to this presentation and all of the links that are in it, including the CNCF survey. And I also want to give a shout out, I'll give you a second to scan this, to our SIGs, our special interest groups. So these are groups that you can join to work on specific areas of the project. And those are SIG marketing, SIG security, and SIG scalability. And if you have an idea for something that the project needs help with and want to form a group to go and focus on that, you can do that. A lot of the innovations you're going to hear about today come from either SIG scalability or SIG security. And of course, ArgoCon is put on by SIG marketing. So that's an opportunity as well. Now, here are my couple asks of you before I pass it over to Michael. One, enjoy the talks, respect the speakers. Respecting the speakers means give lots of feedback. Be enthusiastic. We're here to enjoy the day. I don't want to pass the day being bored. I want to pass the day being excited, and there's so much to be excited about. So enjoy it. Take a minute and talk to your fellow Argonauts. As you leave this session, put yourself out there. Go talk to some people. All the people in this room are passionate about the same software that you are. So get a chance to know them, and you will be so happy that you did. When you put your minds together, you share ideas, it becomes incredibly powerful. Add your company to the users.md. That's a huge ask I have for all of you today. If you haven't done it, we love to see that. Participate in the community. Go to the SIGs. Open PRs. Do issues. We want to see all that stuff. And lastly, do the end user survey that Katie is promoting. It's on our social account, so look at the Argo Twitter handle. And with that, I ask that you keep synced and commit on. Thank you.